I really like the music here. Before I even started playing this game, I couldn't help but just sit and listen to it for a minute. But Freedom Planet proves to be a game full of simple joys. Developed by Galaxy Trails, this Sonic-inspired 2D platformer has taken me back to just that state of giddy, childlike wonder and nostalgia that reminds me of when I first played Sonic 2 in my cousin's Genesis back in the 90s. This is Sonic as I remember it, and I would say that it has surpassed a lot of what Sega has done themselves in recent years. The game feels mostly like a classic Sonic game with a few other retro-inspired mechanics. You can run, jump, punch, and kick your way through speed-focused courses, and get to choose from 3 different protagonists, the main one being a dragon girl named Lilac. Her feel as a character is definitely Sonic-like without being just a copycat. She is speedy while also having a variety of attacks for slower combat sections, and they feel like a great evolution over simply jumping into things. Her special dash attack is pulled straight from Rocket Knight Adventures, and pulling a string of hits from aiming it just right feels really satisfying. When I was playing through the game with Lilac, I couldn't help but notice these red panels all over the place and wondered what they were for. That is where Carol the Wildcat comes in. While she doesn't have quite the same combat abilities as Lilac, she can jump up walls, and everything changes when she finds a fuel container and gets out her motorbike. It is blazing fast and makes attacking a breeze, and the before-mentioned panels become these awesome speedy launch pads. This completely changes the feel of the game, warranting another playthrough entirely. Mila, the adorable basset hound, is really different from the others. She can create cubes of energy to throw at enemies and hold up a shield to defend from attacks, and can also flap her ears like wings. She kinda feels like a bit of a hard mode character, as she has less life and is more focused on defense. There is a great variety of playstyles with these characters, but that's not all that makes them interesting.
We'll think of something. What I really want to know is why Spade is working for Mayor Zhao.
Buttloads of cash?
While not without its flaws, Freedom Planet has a pretty ambitious story for a 2D platformer, complete with voice acting. The 3 main characters have a great chemistry, and reminds me a bit of shows like the Powerpuff Girls. They are just girls who love to hang out and have a good time. Talking about the main storyline, the game's opening cutscene immediately establishes a threatening villain, who quickly proceeds to behead someone E10 style. Our heroes must join together to fight against this threat, who seeks to steal a mythical stone that provides power for the whole planet, all while sowing seeds of distrust between neighboring kingdoms, hiding his own culpability while the kingdoms blame each other. There is also an alien duck-like character named Torque, who helps the trio understand this threat and guides them along the way. The cutscenes do sometimes meander a bit too long in between levels, but I thought it was a good way for me to stay a little bit more engaged with these characters. The level design in the game has a decent amount of variety, ranging from things like shopping malls, airships, caves, and more. Enemies are also surprisingly diverse, and sometimes will actively chase you across the stage until you bring them down. One of my favorite parts of the game were the boss fights. They are big, over the top, and sometimes really hard. You can't just constantly mash the attack button and hope for the best. You gotta take the time to recognize the attack patterns and see the openings and take them down a bit at a time. By the time I took down the final boss, I feel I had actually become more skilled at the game. Freedom Planet is an exhilarating retro-inspired game that has been a real palate cleanser after my disappointment with a few more recent games. This game clearly understands what makes old Sonic appealing while adding a flair of its own that in many ways improves upon it. I very much enjoyed my playthrough and give the game a score of 8.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. After the dust of the Nintendo Direct settled, I want to get back in the groove of making consistent review kind of content for you guys. So if you enjoyed, please give this video a like and consider subscribing. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'd like to hit that mark before the end of this year. With your support, it will be possible. Until next time, bye everybody!